You're now listening to the You Run podcast.
True crime. This podcast is unique. Heather, tell them why.
You choose the cases. You share your opinion. And I hit you with mine.
He got an easier death than he deserved.
Casey was the first Illinois prisoner executed against his will.
An eyewitness later described Bundy's last moments of life.
He made reference to his loved ones and to his family when he was saying his last words.
A serial killer comes about by circumstances and
This is the You Run podcast. This is the only true crime podcast where we put you in control. You become part of our team as me and Heather take you through the cases that you have chosen. This is not our show. This is your true crime.
That bitch is cray-cray. She's real crazy.
Hello everyone, my name is Scott.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Extended Cut, the show where we bring you more. Well, we just bring you more of our last case, which this time was Peter Sutcliffe. As always, if you haven't listened to that episode, go and listen to that episode, because otherwise this will make absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah. Yes.
None at all. I'm going to kick things off. So I said in that episode that he had an excuse for killing 13 women and attacking 11 others.
Yes, and I need to hear this.
So his excuse is he claimed God made him do it.
Okay. It's the same shit. Okay.
It gets better. He said women were filth, bastard prostitutes littering the streets, and all he was doing was cleaning up a little bit.
He has mommy issues. He does. No, that's like, I know already.
Yeah, he's got, mummy issues.
Mama didn't let him suck on the titty for long enough, or something didn't happen. She should have let him normalize breastfeeding in public. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, it still gets worse. So he claimed that he started hearing voices when he worked as a grave digger. So this is back in the early 70s, before he met his wife.
Yes.
And these voices were talking to him throughout the entire time. And the voice was of a grave from a Polish man called, I'm going to try my best, Bronislaw Zapolski.
I think you did a great job. A+.
Yeah, Thank you very much. And he claimed that this is the voice he heard, and this was a messenger from God.
Okay. I don't know why. Look, y'all need to quit blaming God for shit. Because this is the thing. God ain't got time for that shit. If he was doing it, y'all just leave Jesus the fuck out of this. Why? It's like one of the most stereotypical things that you hear. Well, God told me to drown them. God ain't tell you that shit. He didn't. I know he didn't tell you that.
The thing is, though, there's a go-to, isn't there? It's either the God made me do it or the devil made me do it.
Or the devil. So, of course, that puts us into that whole, we start getting into the religious aspect of it. But it's like, first of all, whether or not you believe in above or below, God didn't make you do shit, and the devil ain't making you do shit. You made you do the shit that you fucking did. Yeah,
and then you decided God would be a good excuse. Let's go with that.
I've heard it so many times, Scott. I've heard it on so many documentaries, especially with women that kill their children. That's really morbid and macabre, but it's so true, because it's like with Andrea Yates. She's a woman that killed I think it was 5 of her children in Texas. She drowned each one of them individually.
Wow.
She said God made her do it because if she didn't kill them before they got older, they were going to go to hell.
Wow.
It's sad. Andrea Yates, like I said, it was in Texas, Houston, Texas, actually. But yes, that's what I'm saying. No, the bitch was schizophrenic. She had severe mental illness. That's what told you to do it.
Yeah, not God. If God or the devil existed, they've got better shit to do than tell us what to do.
Well, and this is the thing. Aren't we kind of contradicting the fact that if, God exists, he's good?
Yeah.
He's not telling you to. So if anything, we'll blame the devil, right?
Yeah.
But even then, the devil is hot as fuck. He got shit to do too.
And not only that, if the devil likes everything that's evil, he's not going to tell you to go and kill a prostitute. He's going to tell you to kill a social worker or someone who's doing something
exactly.
good.
It's just so, I know, whatever. It's an easy excuse to get out of taking responsibility for you. And back then, mental health was such a stigma.
Yeah.
That we don't have time to get into that, but that is part of the problem. Is that you would have been identified as something else, and really he was schizophrenic. I would go ahead and say you have hallucinations, delusions, things like that when you're schizophrenic.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it was.
But they didn't take that into consideration. It's like, oh, God told me to do it.
Yeah, and the only good thing the police done and the judge done in the 1970s is when he said that God made me do it, they basically went, "Shut up, you fucking idiot." Of course, God did.
Only Jesus ain't got time for you.
No, and that was that's literally the only thing the police done right. The police, I don't know if they were as shit as the ones who investigated Dahmer case.
They were worse. They were worse.
You think they were worse?
I'm saying, what do you call? Okay, what do you what are they called there? Are they called something different? Like a police officer? Is it like just a Bobby?
Yeah, they were called bobbies, but yeah, they're police officers. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
But yeah, they were as bad as, if not slightly worse. I don't think they were as bad as Dahmer because they actually launched an investigation.
Yeah.
I don't know. They weren't great.
I feel like it took them a really long time, but it also took a really long time with Dahmer as well. Like it took forever for them. Yeah. And they made mistakes, but it must have been the time frame. So we'll blame it on that.
Yeah. The biggest problem, like with Dahmer, is that Peter Sutcliffe preyed on a class of people who the public didn't give a shit about. The police didn't care about them.
Exactly.
I watched a couple of documentaries where the police are interviewed, the police who worked on this case. Okay. And they defend their actions very vehemently, saying we were doing everything we can. We had massive teams out, and they defend themselves all the way through. Now, I'm going to say that they didn't do a good job. They didn't look at this right. And I found a police statement from 1979 that was on a press conference that they done for the public. I'm going to read you a statement that they made and then just get your take on it. So they put, the killer has made it clear he hates prostitutes. Many people do. We as a police force will continue to arrest prostitutes. But the Ripper is now killing innocent girls. This indicates your mental state and that you're in need of urgent medical attention. You have made your point. Give yourself up before another innocent woman dies. Thoughts?
What am I supposed to say to that? That is fucking one of the most uneducated things that anybody can say, because what that is saying, what I'm hearing is that your life is worth less because of something that you choose to do in your life. Yeah. And because these women chose to be sex workers, their life is not as important as, say, yours or mine. And that is not true, and they are not God. No. They have no right to pass judgment or try or execute anyone in that manner. So it's asinine, again, to me, that they want to be like, oh, well,
we know you hate prostitutes. Lots of people
prostitutes.
Do. Yeah,
you don't know that.
No, it's just
it shows you the mentality of how, like, our world is. So back then, that's just how things work. And you think, oh, well, there's not racism, there's not hate. But all that shit is still really real and relevant, and that's the sad thing, because this fucking world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh, it is. Rapid speed.
There you go. Okay, so if you want to blame whatever, take your time to blame whoever. But it's people being uneducated and treating other humans like actual trash.
Yeah.
And that bothers me because, look, I don't like a lot of people. I think it's not like, I don't wish bad on them. It has more to do with the fact that I'm just not very interactive. Like, people drain me, and that's mainly why. But I have a lot of empathy and sympathy, and I am very sensitive about stuff, and I just can't.
No.
How you can just treat somebody like fucking shit like that. It doesn't make any sense.
It is really bad. Something else the police done, which is not in my notes that you're looking at, but it's in my handwritten notes in front of me.
Okay, good.
I wasn't going to put it in, but I think I have to, because it's
okay.
It kind of amuses me just because of how absurd it was, and that's kind of why I was going to leave it out. So after the first victims who survived, who went to police, she was attacked after she'd come out of a local nightclub. Mm-hmm. Now, the police had an idea. Bear in mind, they didn't interview her properly. They didn't question her and push for information. Yes. What they wanted to do is they wanted to be very delicate with her, because they didn't want to make her feel scared or make her feel intimidated. So they dragged a young officer in to one of the high officers and said, look, we've got a plan. What we want you to do is we want you to go back to the nightclub with this victim. We're going to give you £15 expenses, and you're to go and pose as a couple and keep an eye out for the killer. And if she spots him, she's going to point him out, and you're going to then call in the sting team, and we're going to come in and arrest him.
Okay.
And this young officer said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But £15 is not going to last the first round, is actually what he said to his... And he was right.
Yeah.
So apparently he spent £78, and he remembers he spent £78 of his own money being on a date with a known prostitute in a club that was local in his hometown. And he spent most of the night trying to hide because he didn't want anyone he knew to recognise him.
Yeah, because then he'd be seen with a known sex worker, and it's like, oh shit, what's going on?
And the bit that makes this so absurd is they didn't find Peter Sutcliffe, but even if Peter Sutcliffe had been there, they wouldn't have found him, because when they interviewed her the following day, having this sting operation failed that cost thousands of pounds, when they interviewed her, she went, I don't remember what he looks like. But she went to the sting and got free drinks all night, knowing full well she had no idea what he looked like.
I hope they had fun.
I hope they had a really good night.
Right? I mean, look, we were just going to say he might have got him a little...
Well, it did cross my mind, because I watched him interviewed. He's like, it was a really fun night. We had a laugh, but we never caught Peter. I bet they did. Yeah.
I bet she caught Peter in her mouth. I said what I said. I know she did. Look, come on now. Come on. It's not an attack against her profession. No. It's just this, like, why would you're doing stuff, and like you're drinking, and it loosens you up and lowers your inhibitions.
Yeah, and we know the going rate was £5, and he'd already spent £78, so what's an extra £5 on top?
He got that Peter pounded, punched. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peckers. That's what happened. That's not actually how it goes. That's awful. I'm sorry. God told me to say that.
Did he? Okay, the devil's going to tell me to say what I'm saying next.
Yeah.
The police gave huge amount of time to, I said we got the hoax tape and we got the hoax letters. Mm-hmm. They paid huge amount of attention to this, put massive task forces on trying to track this down, and spent thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds. And it was obviously all a hoax. The reason they invested so much is the letters that come into the papers had information that had not been released to the public.
Okay.
When they eventually caught the person in 2006, it came out in the trial that he had that information. And how he got that information is he was in the local area when the police were in the pub discussing the case between themselves and the barman. So he got the information from the police, because the police were loose-lipped when they'd had a drink.
Yeah, well, everybody's loose-lipped in more ways than one. If you have a few drinks, if you're a woman, come on, both lips are talking. Yeah. All of them. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't drink right now because I'm pregnant. So I haven't had a drink in a very long time. But when I could drink wine make you feel sexy as fuck. Like, that's exactly how you feel. And so, again, it lowers your inhibitions. You're just like, hey, officer pretty. That's what happens.
Yeah, and you've got the police in there telling all these things that the public don't know. And there's a guy sat behind there writing his letter going,
exactly.
Oh, that happened. Oh, great. Oh, thanks. Yeah, brilliant.
Because we're just people. We're just people. And so, police officer or not, after he's had a few spirits, they're gonna gossip. They're gonna start talking, the spilling the tea, as you kids say.
Yeah. An internal inquiry was launched in 1981 into the investigation. So after he was arrested, they come under massive fire. So they launched an internal inquiry. The results of this were not made public until 2006. What the fuck?
Why y'all hiding shit so long?
The report found massive failings, even to the point where, I said about the cards, they had a card that was, if someone rung in and said, oh, it might be Peter Sutcliffe, they'd write his name on a card and stick it, and then
interview from there.
He had 3 cards in the roller deck. However, those roller deck, it got stapled together, it got issued to an officer to go and do the interview as him as a suspect. It got put in someone's in tray, which is where it was found when he was arrested. It had been in there for over a year.
So they
just never got round to going and interviewing him.
Just let it collect some dust.
But so it's all paper files back then. There was no computer.
Yeah, well, of course,
It's gone in an in tray. Then others have gone on top. He's gone and done them, and then more have gone on top. And Peter Sutcliffe just stayed at the bottom for a year and never got reached.
Somebody wasn't doing their fucking job.
No, they weren't. The report that concluded, although mistakes were made, they have no reason to believe that he had more victims, and they inevitably stopped a dangerous killer from walking the streets.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta scratch my head.
Yeah.
It's so silly and ridiculous, just like the way that things were handled. And I mean, even today we have shit that's not handled correctly, which is why a lot of the times you're still getting current cases of serial killers and what do you call it? Like, when they kill your whole, like somebody kills their whole family, there's an actual term for it.
Family annihilator.
Yes, thank you. And so it's like all this stuff is still happening. I just don't know. Y'all pick up the paperwork. Pick the paperwork up.
Well, there was someone who picked up the paperwork, which when I found this, I was so pleased that someone actually done a decent job. So in 1982, because West Yorkshire Police were still under massive pressure from the public about this case and the failings, they appointed Keith Hellawell. Keith Hellawell was a private investigator, and they handed over everything they had on Peter Sutcliffe and basically said, please go and see anything else. Go and find out everything you can about this man, where he's been, what he's done, everything. And he done a really, really, really good job. So between 1982 and 2019, when he died, Keith Hellawell carried out an investigation. He found another potential 60 victims in that time span, from Yorkshire, Scotland, Manchester, all over the north of England, which matched travelling of Peter Sutcliffe when he travelled with his job, when he was driving his vehicle. There was enough evidence to charge him with over half of these crimes. And the plan was they were going to bring charges on these murders and take him back to court. But Peter Sutcliffe died of COVID. So obviously these cases are never going to get heard now because of that. But there is potentially another 60 victims. He was even linked to 2 murders in Sweden in 1980. So the UK police went, no, that's never happened. This is their statement. We are almost positive Peter has never been to Sweden.
Well, how the fuck did they know if he went to Sweden?
I don't know. So the case is still under investigation now. But what the general thought is that he worked for a long distance driving company. He used to drive a lot in the UK.
Yeah, it was like a truck driver type.
Yeah.
Want to call it for Americans? It's a 18-wheeler, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But his company also done a lot of work to and from Sweden. And what the general rumor is that Peter covered for his friend, so his friend could go on a date. And he took the truck over to Sweden, and then allegedly killed these two prostitutes, and then come home. Which,
so
if that,
how far of a haul is that? Like a drive? I mean, I've never been to Sweden. I don't know where the fuck
that's
that
probably, I don't know, probably a week round trip.
Oh God, that's a lot of effort to. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying he went to Sweden or didn't go. I don't know what the fuck he did when it comes to that, but geez.
Yeah, but it's possible that he done that. But potential six, so that's potentially 62 more people that he's attacked or killed.
He has to have the highest, I think. Well, so far with our episodes and the cases that we've done, I think he's got the highest.
Yeah, he's definitely got a. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of these, I believe he done more.
I'm absolutely sure he did.
Yeah, based on the way he attacked and the brutal way that he attacked, and the fact that even though the whole world was on him and he had his picture up everywhere, the fact he didn't stop, he was obviously addicted, and he was addicted to doing it. So I don't think he had these lulls. I think he was just attacking a class of people that people just didn't notice.
Well, I mean, and there were probably, because of it being a district, like you mentioned in the episode, there would have been a good amount of workers, I would assume.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then he was killing women that weren't sex workers, and we don't know. Again, we don't know who he killed in between all of them. But
yeah,
like you said, it could be 60 more. It could have been 30 more. We don't know. This is all speculation on that part.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, so a lot of killers, when they get into prison, will talk about other crimes to try and get reduced sentences, or they'll brag. But Peter Sutcliffe, pretty much when he went in prison, just was silent. He didn't really say anything about what he'd done. He didn't talk about his crimes. He didn't elaborate. He was interviewed many times and just basically went, "No, it's the ones that you caught me for."
Yeah, but I mean, he was extremely unhinged, and I don't think that he killed for any type of recognition. Again, like I said, I'm going to chalk it up and say that he killed out of rage. This was rage. This was his mental illness. He had schizophrenia, and even though we don't know a lot about his family life, we just know a little bit, which I hate when we can't find out a ton.
Yeah.
He had some mommy issues, just like how y'all be saying girls got daddy issues, men have mommy issues, and in turn, something was not right, because to me, he only killed women, or at least that's what we know about.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of information about his married life either, so you don't know what his marriage life was like. Obviously, he spent a lot of time out, but we don't know if he was happily married. Did they get on? Did they go out for dinner? Did they...
And she was screwing the ice cream man. So we don't. I mean, she was getting sticky treats, but not from PETA. She was getting them from Sarah or whatever. She got a double scoop in her. You know what? The P word. Yeah. I'm not going to say it.
In her double scoop in her cone.
In her cone. Oh, yeah. I like that. See, that's good. Or he was using his cone to give her a double scoop. That's so gross. Anyways, but yeah, we don't know. Like I said, this was a case that was easy to read about, but I just kept running. I felt like everything I read was repetitive, and I was like, I'm not getting any juicy shit on it.
So this was a relatively, you've not seen this case before, not really.
I had seen little particles of him in other true crime documentaries. Not specifically about him. So no, I knew the name because we talked about this, because I was like, telling you that because I think you brought up him being like the strangler.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, that's not right.
Yeah,
He didn't strangle.
I didn't know anything about it. I messaged you
Yeah.
going, he's a strangler, isn't he? And you were like, no, he's a
No.
hammer knife kind of guy. I was like, oh, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
Yeah. So I knew I basically know all the serial killers. Like I know, but then there's just some that like you can turn the TV on and you're going to find a documentary about them right now.
Yeah.
Just not him.
Yeah, just which leads me nicely into there's not a lot of media about Peter Sutcliffe. There's a Netflix documentary which is a very one-sided take from the police.
Yes.
So they interview a lot of the police who were involved in the case, the people who led the investigation. They interview a few of the survivors, but it is a very, very, very one-sided take. It's not a straight down the middle documentary. It's it paints the police in a much better light than we've painted them on this episode.
It's just like that. What is it? The happy smiley face killer or whatever the hell. It's the same thing. That documentary blew donkey ass. It was like not good. It's just like two cops trying to play whatever. Yeah. It was boring.
There is an ITV 6-part series dramatization of this that was due out September this year. It's called The Long Shadow. And the reason it didn't come out in September is because of backlash from TV executives that were being pressured by the police force. Because I'm assuming that this does not show the police in a good light. However, it does look like it's coming to our screens early next year, if not at the very end of this year. But there's been a lot of arguing about getting it out, or that's what the rumours on Google say. That's why it's been delayed, because they're having backlash from family, they're having backlash from the police, they're having backlash even from their own TV execs are going, this is too much, you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's not that he's not an interesting case. It's just that he's not a sought after person that I think most people would be like, I want to know about Peter Sutcliffe, Suck it, whatever his last name is. I think most people wouldn't just be running to, he's no Dahmer, Bundy, or anybody super relevant. So those serial killers get romanticized more. Yeah. Unless you just know your true crime, you won't even know who the fuck he is.
The thing is, though, isn't it strange that a killer like Dahmer gets all of the attention, when I would say that Peter Sutcliffe is on a par with his brutality? And he was brutal like Bundy. Yeah, very much. I mean, not to say Dahmer wasn't, but him and Sutcliffe and Bundy used some of the same, like with their rage. Yeah. The violence and especially the sexual assault stuff. Like, oh yeah, definitely. They have that in common. I wonder why some true crime cases become global sensations then and this didn't. I wonder what was different about this, and whether it was, I don't know. I don't know why this didn't grab sort of global news. I don't want to say it's because it happened in the UK, and then, because there's stuff that can happen here and then you're going to hear about it, vice versa. That shouldn't make a difference. I don't know either. That's kind of a tough, maybe for anybody listening, if you guys know about that, like why did his case not get blown up? Like, why wasn't he the next Bundy, but the UK version, right? Yeah, because he done enough to earn a spot in that notoriety. Violent. He was extremely violent. Bashing somebody's head in with a hammer, I don't know how much more violent you can get. No, and that takes... when I was investigating this, I was thinking about, like, what it would actually take to hit someone with a hammer. It's personal. Also... and what that would also, because you would feel that right through the handle. That's not. Yes. That's such a bizarre. So I was doing some work at home and I had a hammer and I just hit it on my decking, and I was like, oh no, because it wouldn't just hit like hitting something hard. I just can't get around how you could do that to someone and then proceed to stab them and do all the other horrible things. Well, stabbings are very personal. Yeah.
because you're literally you're this close to someone. You have to be extremely close to them to stab them.
Yeah.
It's not like shooting or any other type of violence, because when you stab someone or you bash their head in, I mean, like, that's extremely personal. That's where I say all the rage comes in.
Yeah.
You're dealing with real rage right then. You hate this person, his reasoning, because they were sex workers. But the thing is like, he would have done that to anybody. It didn't matter, I think, if they hadn't been a sex worker. So, like, they didn't personally do anything to him, but his internal rage came out on them.
Yeah, there's a theory that I kind of put together, which again isn't in my notes, but it's on my pad in front of me. And I wasn't sure whether to do it, but I think it might make a bit of sense. Like, I couldn't understand his motive. And it wasn't until I looked back over the dates and stuff. So I wrote this down when I went back over the episode just before we started recording. His wife miscarried in 1975 and was told they couldn't have children. And they never give a reason for that. And I'm wondering whether she had an STD, because his crime started, or his first murder was around that time. And the attacks, this first attack, would have been around the time that she had her affair. Was this his way of killing his wife again and again and again without killing his wife?
I mean, that's not a crazy theory. Like, that's not because any of his reasoning could be constituted as nuts, right? It's all but you're at least given some type of a valid reason for why he could, because a lot of serial killers will do that. When they have been mistreated or abused, sexually, physically, mentally, whatever. When they kill, it is like they are attacking, let's say that they go after a certain demographic. They're attacking their abuser, quote unquote, over and over and over again. Yeah,
which I think for me, that would explain the rage. That would explain why he's so angry.
And his fascination, first of all, with STDs, or kind of what it did to the human body. And I'm thinking, well, like, what the fucking STDs did y'all get? Like, I mean, nowadays, I would believe most of that stuff is pretty curable. There's probably some that's not. I don't have any experience with the ST or the D department, thank you.
No, me neither, thankfully. Touch wood, don't ever want
Yes. So for me, I'm just like, it must have been some sort of fascination with, like, the effect. I mean, it's like just a macabre interest.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a strange thing to be into, but hey, okay.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. There's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up, which is his appeal. So he started an appeal process not long after he was sentenced. And his first appeal was to try and get the date of parole brought forward. And he failed miserably. The court just basically looked at him and went, thanks, no. Goodbye.
Bye.
So he then went on a long appeal process, which took him all the way until 2011 when he got in front of the Supreme Court. The court rejected his appeal with a simple statement: some men should never be released.
Yeah.
That was basically it. It was like, no, you shouldn't be released. And this leads me to a question for you. So, should a serial killer, if someone who's killed, let's take a relatively low number in serial killer terms. If someone has killed 4 separate people, and they get sentenced to 30 years in prison or 40 years or however long, and they come up for parole, should they ever be released?
If you're asking me directly, absolutely not. This is my thing. I think, so I'm going to go on both spectrums of it real quick. So no, I don't, because depending on the actions, depending on the violence, depending on a lot of factors, that will determine the success rate of rehabilitation. Can they be rehabilitated, right? There are some men and women in jail that have committed crimes. Maybe they've done robberies, things like that. Would I feel more comfortable knowing that they served time, they did rehabilitation? I think I would feel less nervous right? Because that's not a violent crime. But for someone that has done something against a child, a woman, a man, that is in any way sexual, anything like that, no, they should not. They should not, because I'm not sure everybody can be rehabilitated. That's the thing. And we talked about this with Dahmer finding God, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Can you just, I mean, you can get baptized and pretend to be whatever. That's not what makes you a Christian. That's not the point.
No.
So for me, no, I think that rehabilitation, he had schizophrenia.
Yeah.
You would have to have a lifelong mental health help with that. That is not something that you take a medicine for and it goes away like an STD, right?
No,
like
exactly.
This shit, it's lifelong.
Yeah.
And there's a place for violent offenders. And if you're violent like that, it is something inside of you. It's not the same thing like we talked about before. If you're selling weed or you got caught with weed or even something stronger, it depends on the person too. You know, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I would not feel comfortable if some guy raped and killed all these women and then they were like, we're going to let him out.
Yeah, you've served your time. No. You can get. Yeah, I'm with you.
No, because he's probably good. If it's that easy, they profile them in jail, and so they kind of know, like, you know what, he is going to reoffend. He's going to. So they know, which is why they try not to let them get out. And they do everything they can. So I would say that doesn't happen very often. But hey, I mean, these cops have no brain cells. So, at least back in the 70s and shit. But
yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think if you killed somebody, there's elements to this. So if you killed someone, if you were attacked and you killed someone out of defense and you were sent to prison for that, I believe you should at some point be released. If you killed someone in defense, but if you went out and intentionally hunted, stalked and killed somebody or multiple people,
you're going to reoffend. The rate of that is so high that even with rehabilitation, you would have to be monitored. And I just don't, for everyone's safety outside in the real world. Yeah. It's like letting an animal. It's like these people, like, for example, it's like these shows that you see where these people have a fucking lion for a pet. Guess what? And then they end up dying. You know why? Because a lion is not a goddamn dog.
Exactly.
Or a cat. It is not a domesticated animal. Even when that lion grows up in your house, guess what happens? Guess what happens, y'all? The fucking face gets eaten off. Yes, I've watched documentaries about people having, there's like one on Hulu or something. It's like weird obsessions, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, they're showing you like, oh, they have an alligator in their house, and then they're wondering why little Betsy got her fucking kneecap chewed off. I wonder why.
I saw one recently. There's a woman who's got a pet hippo.
Yeah, do you know that those are one of the most dangerous animals, like, on the planet?
Yeah.
Like, they will kill you.
Yeah, they will kill lions and tigers. They're like a 3-ton monster.
They're cute in the water when they smashing fruit and watermelons in their mouth. You're like, oh, look at that. But that could be your head.
Yeah, and you don't want that shit in your bathtub at home.
Yes. So, long story short, do not let a criminal out like that, because they're going to reoffend. Even people that commit petty crimes, okay? Once they serve their time, guess what? They end up reoffending. The rate for that, because jail, I will say this about jails, and I don't know how it is in the UK, they don't do much rehabilitation here, Scott. They don't really give a fuck.
No.
They're not really about trying to help that person be like, what you did was wrong, and we want to make you get better. Mentally, let's help you. They don't do that.
No.
That's the problem.
No, it's they put them in there and go, this is prison, this is your punishment, you stay here till you've done your time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when they get let out, and then because they've had no guidance, they do it again.
Yeah.
Most likely, they do it again.
Yeah. There are some people that don't, but yeah, for the most part, they do. Next time, Heather, it's your final recording with us for a while.
Oh my gosh.
I but we do get to cover something very, very special that you've wanted to cover for a long time. Do you want to tell everyone what we're doing?
Yeah, it's not going to be the You Run podcast this time. It's going to be the Heather Run podcast. And we're going to do Ted Bundy because I'm going off on vacation. That's what I'm going to call it, babycation. Vacation? Sure.
Babycation,
we'll
that works.
We won't really call it a maternity leave because it's whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna end my last recording episode with a bang. Hopefully, I will be bringing the heat. I'm excited. I'll be a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. I might cry. Actually, I might get like a little sad because I'll be like, oh man, just because been doing this for a while. I've been doing podcasting for a couple of years now, so it's like.
And the crazy thing is, real crazy thing is, so when that episode comes out, so when the Bundy episode comes out, it will come out at the beginning of January. You will already be.
Yeah, that's when I'm due. Well,
you'll already have baby here by then.
Probably, most likely, that's what we're going for.
Yeah. So, in theory, you'll be able to listen to that episode with your baby. How cool is that?
Being Campbell, it will be super cool. I'm excited that you found someone that I'm happy that you found to replace me while I'm gone. I can't wait to hear the first episode.
There's going to be lots of bickering, especially as we're going to reposition how I'm set up. So people can't see it, but I'm set up with my mic to the side of me where the wall is. So all of this setup is going to change. And Lisa's going to come and sit next to me and we're going to share a mic. There's going to be lots of that's my mic, that's my mic. There's going to be lots of bickering.
You can get, I think my husband was telling me about it. Like you have a dual thing where you could actually plug in. I don't know what it is specifically. She
doesn't get her own mic. There's no way in the world she gets her own mic.
Oh, shit. I hope she doesn't hear you. Well, I'm just saying if you needed it to where she could be in front of you. Well, I don't know what's on the other side of you. Like if you're looking in front of you and y'all could just be facing each other. It'd be like face off, but no Nicolas Cage. So it'd be better.
Yeah, I'd probably end up being punched if we were face to face. At least if she's to the side of me, I can just hide away.
You were like, why is Scott fading in and out of the recording so much? No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's just going to be, I'm not going to know what to do when I am able to come back. I'm going to forget how to podcast. I'm just going to be like.
Me and Mark were discussing how amazing it's going to be when you come back. Not only will you be back on the show, but you'll be back on the show with wine, which hasn't happened for such a long time.
It hasn't happened for a long time. I was watching a reel on Instagram, and this guy was drinking wine out of a styrofoam cup, and he's like, the whole joke was in the reel is that he's drinking it, and he picks up the wine bottle, and he's like, I see why you motherfuckers drink this, because of how it makes you feel. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of scared for myself.
If anyone wants to know what Heather's like when she podcasts, when she's had a lot of wine, and wants to know what I'm like when I've had a lot to drink,
which is every podcast.
Yeah, there's an episode in particular that lives in my heart as one of my favourite episodes because you and me at the end are both borderline slurring. Go and search. Yeah, go and search Wednesday Wine and Horror, which is Heather's podcast.
Yeah,
and on there, there's an episode of Maniac.
It was my last episode, I believe. Well, it was my last episode. Yeah, I think that I recorded with you guys, with Mark as well. But that one was a big hot mess because my shit messed up, and we had to It was such a mess, y'all. But God, I don't remember how much wine I drank. I think I was mixing it red and white. Yeah,
you were mixing red and white. I was drinking whiskey instead of beer.
That's right. Because I have to go back and listen to that one. I haven't went back and listened to my own shit because I'm super obsessed with some of the podcasts that you have recommended to me. I'm gonna give a quick shout out. The Horror Virgin.
Yeah, they get
They're
a shout out.
fantastic.
Awesome podcast.
Oh my god, it's like up there. And anyway, so I just have gotten distracted by that. I haven't been back and listened to any of mine. They kind of make me cringe.
No. I'm hoping that when you've had the baby and you're back on this show, I am hoping, and I know there are lots of other people hoping as well, that the return of Wednesday Wine and Horror will come back. We all want it. We want it.
We'll see. You know, I gotta. This baby better act right. That's all I'm gonna say. This little baby, and you know, I'm gonna say this before we get off here. Yeah, and I told you this off camera or whatever. He kicks the whole time, like he's kicking me now.
Yeah.
I think he loves your sultry British voice.
I'm not sending him a topless picture either.
It's okay. He can't see you. Oh God, I sound like some Mary Poppins shit. Anyways, he kicks the whole time. So he is already either he loves Mom's voice, he loves Scott's voice, and he's like, I'm into this. Like, I'm gonna have to put headphones on my belly until then, and then when he comes out and be like, hey.
Yeah, it's going to be cool when
he loves it.
There is going to be times when he is born and you and me are recording. He will definitely make an appearance on the show at some point.
He will. He'll be a good baby. I've been really lucky and fortunate to have good baby children. Like, and well, they're good now, but like as babies, they were easy. So
yeah, well, we've had a mix. So we've had like Jack was the best baby in the world. Like you put him down to sleep, and that would be it. He would sleep all night long. My daughter, oh my God, like every 2 hours. Without fail, even if it wasn't just she didn't need feeding, she would just wake up.
You know why? You guys named her Ocean, right?
Yeah.
That's why she's as like, you know how the ocean is endless?
Yeah.
You picked a name, you just didn't know what you were doing, and plus it's a girl. Like, look, I have one daughter, 2 sons now, soon to be 3, and I'm so glad this one's a boy. Because I cannot.
Boys, honestly, are so much easier. If you've got kids, message easier. In, which is better, which is not better, which is easier, boys or girls.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw in that you like one child better, we're not going to judge you because, low key, I have favorites. So it's like it is what it is. But yeah, you guys, I'm going to be sad. It's going to be okay. This was a great episode. I'll try to record with you as much as I can up until it's time, you know, like I told you before.
Yeah, all being well, there will be a very special edition of Horror Movie Review where we're going to have me, Mark, Heather, and Elise from YouTube. And
it's awesome.
It's going to take a lot of editing. I don't know about being awesome. It's going
well, hey, not so much on my part because I will not be drinking.
Yeah, it'll just be on everyone else's.
I'll be the only one. I'll be like, y'all shut the fuck up and act right. I have to be the mom on the podcast now, like for real. I'll be like, I think Elise will be fine. Elise is so, to me, when I've recorded with her solo, she's very chill, at least for me.
Yeah.
Now on YouTube, I know it gets a little bit crazier, but like it's you and Mark.
Yeah, we're the problem. That's what it is.
Oh, God. I'm going to see if Mark gets shit-faced.
He will, definitely. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Heather, can you sign us off, please?
All right, guys. Look, we had a lot of fun on this episode. We hope that you listened to both. And if you have not listened to any of our catalog, go find us on Instagram, You Run Podcast. Click the link. You'll be able to hear every podcast that Scott does because he does 5 million, okay? And no, you really do. You do the fucking most, okay? This is like
we've got a few, yeah.
We got a few. So you guys, until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and we'll fucking see you guys next time. Bye.
See you later. Thank you for listening to the You Run podcast. Don't forget, you can get involved in the show in so many ways. All you need to do is head over to yourunpodcast.com.
Yeah, you don't want it to sound like you're literally reading from a script.
Shit, sorry, Heather. That's right, this is your show. It's fun. It's different. It's like nothing else out there. This is your true crime.
This motherfucker.